Now, one of the newest services in generative AI video is the Adobe Firefly video. And this one has just come out in the last few days. It's part of a release of a bunch of new services from Adobe. Now, they've already been doing text to image for quite some time, but they've now introduced text to video, which is still in beta, but it is now available. And they also have translate video, where you can upload a video that will be translated into a different language. They also have translate audio, which is a very interesting one. But on the minimum plan, it is just 6 minutes that you can translate of audio, which is not a lot. And then you have image to video. We can actually look at image to video and see something that I created for this video. Now, this one is a 5-second video, which is the standard for Adobe, and you can do 16 by 9 or 9 by 16. And what I did was that I uploaded 2 images. One image was this image here, and you can see it in this video, in the finished video. And the other image was this guy here. So 2 pictures of an Egyptian princess, ancient Egyptian princess. And after what seemed a very long time generating this, it came up with this video. Let's watch the video. Now, I'm actually pretty impressed by the results, even though it's fairly low resolution and it's just 5 seconds. The way it morphs from the original image to the final image, there's a lot of things that the AI has to figure out, and it does a pretty decent job. The moon in the background actually should be a little bit like this when it starts off. So when we're right at the beginning, part of the moon's surface is obscured by shadow, and that should have been something that the AI picked up. But what it does do is that it tries to correct the shape of the moon so that it's more circular, and it changes the orientation of the princess. And there's also stuff happening with the veil. She originally has a kind of a veil that she's wearing, or a headdress, and the headdress morphs into her hair. There's a lot going on, and I'm very impressed by the way it does it. What isn't that impressive is how long it takes. Now, in the past, when you used Firefly, you weren't able to get your files back. Now you have got your generation history, and that allows you to see files that you created in the past. And we can take a look at another video that I created using Adobe Firefly video. So now we've got our generation history, and I'm going to show you a video that I created using Firefly. And this one is one which is not text to video. It is actually just the original video from Firefly itself. Now, with this particular one, I asked it to create a handsome man with a hipster mustache standing smiling in a street with lots of flowers, and it gave us that exactly. Now we're going to watch the video, and if you remember some of the things that I mentioned in the past, sort of observing for artifacts and other faults, you'll be able to see something in this one in terms of the artifacting. So that's the image there. It looks fine, but if you look in the background, I mean, the foreground looks okay, but in the background we see a car just coming out of nowhere, and it doesn't look realistic. It is not a rational move for the car to make. So what I decided to do was to use some of the features inside of Adobe, inside of the control panel, and it allows you to actually say, look, you can zoom in, we can zoom out, we can move right, we can move left, we can tilt up. That's the motion for tilting up, and we can tilt down, and we can try handheld, and we can choose static. So what I decided to do was to use the actual feature to say, look, I want you to zoom in. So that way, actually, I think I asked it a slightly different. Actually, let me check to see exactly what instruction I gave it, because it came out with the right result, but I want to be sure I get it right. Okay, we've got it here. Let me play it for you. This is the new one, a handsome man with a hipster mustache standing smiling in a street with lots of flowers. Nothing's changed. And we also have what's known as advanced settings. And the advanced settings are in the control panel. They have what's known as a seed. And the seed is important because when we change the seed, the way it animates changes. But if we keep the seed exactly the same, things don't change. So the seed is an important part of the randomness. If you have the same seed, you get the same result. If everything remains the same, including the seed, you get the same result. But for a lot of services, you don't actually have access to the seed. So you can't control the randomness. But here they've given us access to the seed. Let's see what this looks like, and I'll explain exactly what I changed. Actually, I'll tell you right now. What I changed wasn't the motion, it was the camera angle. So I said, look, I want an eye level shot. We can choose aerial, eye level, high angle, low angle, top down shot. These controls, I think, are what really differentiates Adobe from the other services that we've looked at so far. And just choosing eye level shot gave us this result here. The focus was a little bit more on the face, and we ended up not having anything weird happening in the background, but we kept the overall ambience, the overall feeling, the atmosphere of the shot of the video by keeping the seed the same. So we've got our result here, and maybe we'll take a look at it together and see what it looks like. Okay, now the instruction to stay at eye level really worked. I mean, I don't know if he has an eye level because his face, it's a clock. But you could say, well, maybe the numbers are eyes. I don't know. So he's got a clock for a face. The numbers are actually realistic, which surprises me for Adobe Firefly, because most of the time it does not do very well with numbers and letters. But the result is pretty good. I have no idea why it gave him a leather jacket, because I didn't ask it. Maybe it's kind of talking to Sora and they're having a little chat and say, let's give this guy leather jackets all the time. Okay, so that's the image. That's the video. I really like that. We can then decide, hey, let's keep the seed the same. That means the video is going to remain roughly the same. It's going to have the same sort of feel to it. But we could change something. Let's say let's zoom out instead of zooming in. So if we start generating that one, what would that one look like? It should remain roughly the same, but we should be zooming out now. So this is the result that we got, and as you see, I don't think it really necessarily followed the instruction, which was to it was definitely to zoom out, but you get 20 of these every month for the minimum cost, for the minimum subscription. But you do get the ability to create lots and lots of images, so you can create as many images as you want, and you get 20 images using the video creator or the video generation. Now if we come to the front page for Firefly, we get some examples of other people's works, and this can be an inspiration. I wish there was more ways of actually looking at this, because I really like some of the examples. But let's go and work with this one here. The eyes fill a jar. Eyes fill a jar, and we want to go and use this image to drive one of the videos. So I'm actually going to go for portrait, and we'll go 16:9 portrait, except we can't do portrait 16:9, which is a bit of a disappointment. So what I'll do is we'll do portrait 3:4, and that's gonna have to do. Then we will try the prompt. Now I want to add something else to the prompt. I want to add some kind of effect. So we're going to choose hyper realistic, and maybe we'll add a bokeh effect. So the bokeh effect just blurs out the background and might add some lights which are blurred out in the background. Let's try this one. And when you use the image generator, it is a lot faster than video generator at the moment, at any rate. Now, once the images are created, we can actually upscale them. So I'm going to take this bad boy here, and we're going to upscale this one. And to do that, what we can do is to just go ahead and say upscale all, and it will increase the size of all of them. Sometimes you find that the quality of the image actually improves when you upscale it. And what I want to do is to try to use one of the images in creating a video. Now, the image that we've created is this one, and this image is made up of a combination of the prompt that I used, the Firefly model, but also the conditions here, hyper-realistic and bokeh. And the bokeh just creates this kind of like lighting effect that we see in the background, sort of blurred, out of focus lighting. Let's see if we can make that into a video. Maybe have, I think there's enough space at the top and the bottom to make a sort of 9:16 video, but we'll give it a try. So I've downloaded the image and then uploaded it into the first frame and put in eye in a jar blinks as the prompt. We'll see what that generates, and it automatically decided that this should go as portrait, which is what I wanted. And let's see what happens. So we've got the result now, and I have to say before we look at it, this was a very tough challenge to make to animate an eye in a glass jar. The result that we got, it's kind of okay. I think it starts off better, and then it sort of loses the coherence, the temporal coherence, after a little while. So I think the model maybe needs a little bit more training for this kind of sophisticated work, but overall the kind of action of blinking, it tries its best. It's not perfect, but overall I'm pretty impressed by, especially by the first attempts at actually making the blink work. Okay, so that's a lot of action within about 5 seconds. What we could do in terms of the motion, we could maybe try something like changing the tilt, motion to tilt up, static, handheld. And I haven't actually tried what it does. I haven't actually tried putting slow motion or hyperlapse or that sort of thing. But there's a lot of stuff that we could try to do. But I'm a little bit restricted by the 20 videos in 1 month that we've got to work with. But the other side of it is that when we've got this plan, we can create as many images as we want inside of Adobe Firefly, and we can now go and access those images inside of Adobe Firefly, inside of the region that they call the files. So there you'll find all of the images that I just created. So I like this, and I think it's something which is at the beginning stage. Hopefully within the next few months to a year, we'll see the models improving to the same extent maybe that Sora has improved since it actually launched. Now, it is important to remember that the Adobe Firefly model is still in beta. So we've got Firefly beta there. It's still in testing, but the results you can get are actually fairly impressive given that it is still in beta. This is the video that I wanted to make on a guy with a clock for a head and another guy with a goldfish bowl for a head. And it was able to manage this fairly complicated prompt, which involves two fairly unusual subjects close together. And left to its own devices, it gave them a fairly simple and convincing animation as they walk towards the screen. Another fairly challenging animation that I asked it to do was one where we have some footprints on a beach. And this one is a tough one, but it did do a reasonably good job. The idea here was trying to use footprints on a beach as a metaphor for time and how the waves from the ocean will come in and wash away the footprints. Now, the prompt bare footprints impress deeply into wet golden sand under a colorful twilight sky. A frothy wave advances with gentle calm, erasing the footprints and smoothing the beach into a pristine state. It didn't quite manage to achieve that because we still have some footprints at the front there. Okay, but I think the way that it did this, that it followed the prompt about as far as it could go, was fairly impressive for me. And I would like to see how good this model is maybe in about five months to a year from now. Another strength in the model, in the way the model works, was that I was able to choose a shot size, which is in this particular case close-up shot, and it actually respected that close-up shot very, very well. It just closed up onto those footprints so that we see it exactly in the framing that I requested. So this is pretty exciting stuff, and at the moment I would say it needs a bit more work. It is still in beta, but I think it's well worth watching this one. Now, if you're an Adobe Creative Cloud user, it's important to note that this service is separate to the Adobe Creative Cloud, so you have to purchase this on top of the Adobe Creative Cloud.